Those guys a little extra weight. Roger Craig still on his feet, still running. What a run by Roger Craig. You'll never see a better one than that. John Robinson was just saying yesterday he thinks right now Roger Craig is the best running back in the league. I can see why. You know, he has that thing of getting those knees high and keeping the shoulders low. And he makes every team look like they're bad tacklers. Watch the way he gets that high knee action, keeps those feet going like two pistons. Then, at the same time that the knees are going high and keeping going, the shoulder can get low to take on a tackler.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Can't wait.
It sure is. And it sure is the afternoon where this show is going. And frankly, couldn't come up with a better time, especially with what has just happened to me recently. On Sunday, tested positive for COVID. Let me just go ahead and put it out there. So I've been in quarantine. I've been still doing this show. That's why I've been really, really sick. Now I'm getting over the symptoms. I'm ready to get back to work. And I'm thrilled to have Cole Johnson riding shotgun with me. How are you, sir?
Doing fine. Man, I'm feeling the wears of traveling. But other than that, I'm feeling great myself.
Where'd you travel from?
Well, you know I'm based out of Nashville, but I had to visit my mother-in-law, and she lives about 90 minutes north of Tallahassee. So it's about a 7-hour drive. Yeah.
Tennessee and Florida. You know, that's just not, for college football, that's just not good, especially with how those two teams played this year. But I'm glad you traveled safe. I'm glad you're back safely. And what you just heard at the during the opening is how we can eulogize John Madden and Pat Summerall in 45 seconds. Right there. Because that run from Anaheim Stadium, 49ers versus Rams, 1988, featuring, of course, a person who I believe should already be in the Hall of Fame, Mr. Roger Craig, ran over, under, and through the Rams. And if you heard John Madden's words, the legend passed yesterday at the age of 85. He gets those high knees going, keeps those feet going like two pistons. Who else describes that?
All right, where do I begin for him?
And like I said, we're eulogizing Pat Summerall and John Madden, two of the OGs in sportscasting, right there.
Man, I have said this before. I'll say it again. I really don't think anybody will come along, at least in our lifetime, that's going to match the color that John Madden did. Greatest color man in the history of sports. I'm not even just talking about football. I'm talking about football, boxing, basketball, hockey. Pick a sport. The greatest color commentary personality ever. And what made him so beautiful was the fact that he, like you said, he could take something someone does on a field, and he could describe it to so many different people with such simple terms.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think of Roger Craig's running motion, which he did have a high knee lift, especially when he was running tough. When the tougher he ran, the higher those knees went.
Yep.
Because I realized, just back then, even then I knew it, but I realized that basically that was akin to Walter Payton's stiff arm. And I don't think any other player threw a stiff arm better than Walter Payton.
Nope. Not even Barry Sanders.
And Barry Sanders threw a good one, but not even him.
Not Adrian Peterson.
But and he threw a good one too. Yeah.
I love your comparison. Roger Craig's knees like Walter Payton's stiff arm.
Yeah. And to have John Madden describe it as piston-like, people who may not know the type of imagery that would be for someone to lift their legs up like that and have them run up and down the way they do, but you would if you think about your car. Yes. And Madden would do that. He would he would take something from football and relate it to something in your own personal life where you can get it like that. And it's like, oh, wow, I get what you mean.
Yep.
So many things he did. So many times he did that. So many times.
And you can't just there's just no one way to describe what he meant, not just to football, not just to the Raiders, but to the sportscasting world. The video game world, too. He turned that upside down.
Yeah, he revolutionized another industry.
He revolutionized 3 different industries, being a head coach, being a broadcaster, and the video game industry. He flipped them all upside down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because no one can say that you hold the highest winning percentage of any NFL coach in the history of the sport. And yes, that includes even Vince Lombardi.
Mm-hmm.
They also cannot say that they had the run that they had with, to me, the 2 best voices in football the last 40 years.
Yes.
That would be Al Michaels at the end of his career,
and
at the early part of his broadcast career, and for 22 years
with Pat Summerall. And that's over 2 different networks.
Yes,
because remember, CBS had the NFC package.
Yeah, they were over 2 different networks. Yeah, they were over 2 different networks.
They were over 2 different networks.
They were over 2 different networks.
And they blew everybody away.
Yeah, blew everybody away immediately and consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think, oh, well, they're old, you still wanted to see them because they didn't feel old. They felt right. They felt now. They felt, it's football. You got to hear Pat Summerall and John Madden.
You have to.
And you felt that way from the time you saw them pair up until the time Pat Summerall retired. It was just immediate, and it was long lasting. And if Madden couldn't affect 2 networks, he affected a third in NBC, going to Sunday Night Football, and being alongside Al Michaels until Madden retired.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that,
you have that.
I would just love to have that Madden Cruiser for one day.
Oh gosh!
Could we just have that?
I know he souped that thing up. Ooh, man!
You want to talk about an investment? That's an investment my wife and I plan to make. Is like to have our own style of Madden Cruiser. Tell me when you were. I dare anybody that's watching and listening along with us. I dare any of y'all to tell me you didn't want a Madden Cruiser growing up when you were listening to Pat Summerall and John Madden, and Madden would bring you aboard the Madden Cruiser, especially for Thanksgiving Day games. Man, please. I want a Madden Cruiser. And
I make no bones about it, and I think you will join me in saying this. There's many things that made me fall in love with football, but none made me fall in love with football harder than listening to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
No argument from me.
And
no argument here.
And they came around in both our lives at the tail end of grammar school for us.
Yep.
So we had a visual understanding, and it wasn't passed down to us. We actually got a chance to see this every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
From the time we were about 8 or 9 till the time we were both men, and I mean, well into our adulthood men.
Yes.
And it was just awesome. It was awesome to see this man just go to work, and you see what the word passion looks like in a man. You see it.
You see the unbridled joy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You see the unbridled joy. And those two getting such a kick out of working with each other. I'm sorry. I can't put it another way. I cannot put it another way because you knew it was showtime when you hear Pat Summerall and John Madden set up the game for you.
Mm-hmm. And the two paired off They could not have made a better pairing. It was you had this no nonsense approach to play-by-play calling with Pat Summerall.
Yep.
But you also had this extremely, I wouldn't even say out there, because he wasn't out there. He had this extremely passionate, wild, infectious, and inviting personality in John Madden. And when you actually get to know the both of them, you learn, oh, so Pat may have been straight-laced with his call, but he had a little bit of John Madden in Pat.
Yeah, he did.
And John had a little bit of Pat, and John had a little bit of Pat in himself too. And it took thinking about his career as the Raiders head coach for 10 years. I was like, well, duh. He had to be about X's and O's, and he had to be the bus stops here eventually at some point. So, okay, understood. So he had that.
Right.
But now his time in broadcasting, he just thought of, well, you know what? I'm just going to show me. I'm going to show America and the world how much I love this sport and how much I know about this sport, and tie the two of them together. And that marriage made so many people fall in love with football. You know, that is the impact of John Madden right there.
The impact of them both, because they were thrown together at Super Bowl 16 in Pontiac, Michigan, and CBS had the call for that. They were thrown together one other time, and that was the NFC Championship in 1979 between the Rams and the Buccaneers. But when Super Bowl 16 came along and those two were together, I was hooked. I couldn't watch another game without hearing either Pat Summerall or either of these two pairs, Pat Summerall and John Madden, or Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.
Oh, well, that goes without saying. But to me, the two pairs I have loved the most in football, you just named them.
Yeah.
Pat Summerall, John Madden, to me, is one. Dick Enberg and
Merlin Olsen.
And I could hear games called by those four the rest of my life and never tire of any of those four.
Same. Especially if it was championship weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially because if it was championship weekend.
just think about how spoiled we were, because for more than a decade and a half, we got a chance to hear them every championship weekend. Beautiful. Every championship weekend, we got to hear one or the other the entire day. And yeah, those are to me the elite pairings. And you could say Nance and Romo, which they're okay. I love them.
Nance and Romo are cool.
Yeah, I love them. I can't really say they're bad.
But you can't replace Pat Summerall and John Madden, nor can you replace Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. There's just no way.
No, and what I loved about both those pairings is that neither one tried to be Dick Enberg did not try to be Pat Summerall, and Merlin Olsen did not try to be John Madden. I
mean, they had their own style.
They had their own style, and they drew you in with their own style, and they were just as effective. Love them. Oh, love them. And Merlin Olsen does not get his. I don't. Yeah, definitely. And Merlin Olsen does not get his due at all. That's what sucks about that.
He gets his due from us.
Yes.
I wouldn't. If it wasn't John Madden, it was Merlin Olsen.
Yeah,
I was
Merlin
listening
Olsen.
to. If it wasn't Merlin Olsen, I'll name you a third. It was Dan Deerdorf with Monday Night Football. Yeah, I'm going all the way back. So the triangle for us, Pat Summerall and John Madden, Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen, and Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf. Bingo.
Yeah,
there's your NFL lineup right there. Not what they, and it's nothing against the guys who are out there now, because there's a couple that I do like.
Yes.
Especially when my team is involved. Kevin Burkhardt is becoming a favorite of mine. Kevin Burkhardt is becoming a favorite of mine. One of the voices from Fox. But you can't replace what we got spoiled by
Yeah. Just think
for
about that.
years.
Yeah, just think about that, man. And you just mentioned to our audience, you just mentioned what we had to see every day from the time we were in the latter part of grammar school, all the way through intermediate, all throughout high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then throughout college years. Because about around the college years, I think that's when they decided to want to break off the Monday Night Football tandem. But imagine the number
Man.
one group in it on CBS was Pat Summerall, John Madden. The number one group at NBC was Dickenberg and
And
Merlin
Merlin
Olsen.
Olsen.
And then Monday night we got to hear that threesome of Deerdorf, Gifford, and Michaels. Football could not have been called better than that, and it
Football
has
could
not
not
been.
have been in better hands. Football could not have been in better hands. Love you, Chris Collinsworth, but
Yeah,
Al
I do too.
Michaels, Dan Deerdorf, and Frank Gifford were the it, okay,
Yeah.
from Monday Night Football. They were it.
Hmm. They were. They were. And I'll even give due to Al Michaels working well with John Madden too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was a really good pairing
That
as well.
hey, that was like hype and hype squared. Al
Yes.
Michaels and John Madden.
Hmm.
That was hype and hype squared. You couldn't do better than that because, like you said, with Pat Summerall, Pat Summerall was like the straight lace, but he had traces of Madden in him.
Yes.
Then he paired up
Yes.
with Al Michaels, the ultimate hype
Hmm.
machine. And I loved Al Michaels from his days with ABC when he called
Same. They're
basketball,
called
when he called
right.
baseball,
When called
and
hockey.
and
Yep.
when he did
Hmm.
hockey. Absolutely.
Yep. Hmm.
Matter of fact, to kick off the new year, I'm going to find some clips of Al Michaels doing every sport, and I'm already thinking of the baseball one that I want to use.
Oh
And
man, I gotta.
the hint I will drop, and I think you know the clip I want to use, go to Anaheim Stadium, 1986.
Oh man, I just got home from school.
When baseball was on in the afternoons.
I just got home from school. I mean, literally. I put my I put my books down on the counter, and I heard the call that you want to get. Yes.
uh, Brian Downing, where are you when we need you? The call I'm referring to, of course, the home run hit by Dave Henderson that saved the Red Sox season. I'll have that before we close things out for the year. And yes, I'm planning to throw a New Year's special. I'm a part of a group called the Sportscasters Talent Agency of America. Let's say that 3 times fast. And they just, posted a question in one of their general discussions. What are your memories of John Madden? I'm going to clip this and I'm going to add it. I'm going to add this conversation so people will really understand where we're coming from. Oh, rest in peace, John Madden. We miss you already. And we got
Oh
to
yeah.
find some way to bring back the All Madden team.
Oh, and before we move on, man, I have to say to him, the thing that I will always credit him for when it comes to me is the fact that he made me appreciate offensive lines.
Yes. You know what made me appreciate him as a coach? He gave everybody a chance.
Yeah.
I'll make this
Hmm.
I'll make this comparison. John Madden reminds me so much of Jerry Tarkanian because they gave everybody a chance. Doesn't matter where you came from, doesn't matter where you went to school. If you can play this game and do it right, then I'll give you a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a
And
got a dear
yeah.
friend Kelly Gladden tuning in. Thank you. That critical Broncos fan tuning in as well. He says we need to bring back the All Madden team.
Oh,
Man,
yes. It wouldn't be the same, but I would totally back it though if it's done right.
if it's done right, I would too.
Yeah.
If it's done right, I would too. All right, we got a break, but when y'all get back, it's Wednesday. That's all I'm going to say. Back in a minute.
Back to seeing my grandbabies every Sunday and smothering them with big hugs and kisses.
I want to get back to football games with my boys.
I want to get back to feeling and touching, connecting with the people around me.
I want to get back to family dinners and my grandma's mac and cheese.
I want to get back to real grocery shopping, taking my time, walking down every aisle, smelling the tomatoes and melons, having a free sample or two, or 3.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the first step that let us get back to feeling optimistic about the days ahead of us. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I get it?
Should I wait?
Now, get the facts. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
No matter what time of the year it is, there's always a time to get your vehicle cleaned and detailed and looking great. And the folks at Official Car Cleaning and Detailing can do the job for you. My buddy Isaac Moore will get you hooked up with the best of the best to keep your car looking sharp, looking beautiful, and looking ready for business. Give them a call today at 219-561-6645. That's 219-561-6645.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes? Their age? The way they speak? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for
summer break because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a single father of 2 who works 3
part-time jobs and still can't put enough food on the table?
Or maybe a mother who cleans offices at night,
hoping to find meeting leftovers to take home to her hungry family.
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time
landing a job and getting back on his feet.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Williams Hardwood Specialist offers all types of flooring. We specialize in sports floor resurfacing and installation. We also offer concrete resurfacing and epoxy overlays. Whether it's a small home with 2 bedrooms or the home the size of Michigan City's gym, Williams Hardwood Specialist is the way to go. If you need some hardwood flooring done or redone, give Williams Hardwood Specialist a call at 219-221-1093. That's 219-221-1093.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. Official SIT Morning is the ID you need for this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck. That bump was perfect. And the person who voiced that, you all know, my beautiful wife, just said it perfectly. When I handed her the script, she said, "You really want me to read this?" I said, "No, not really." She read it over for a moment. She's like, "All right, I got the gist of it." And then that happened. And thank you for that. Okay. You sent me a gem this morning, sir.
I did.
A blasphemous gem, but a gem nonetheless.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to warn everybody ahead of time. I don't know what Clutch Points was on. I don't know what they were drinking. I don't know what they were smoking. I surely don't know what they ate. But a picture I have in front of me. You know what? This has more bile in the back of my throat than than on Sunday when I found out I tested positive for COVID. It reads, quote, LeBron's first career start as center was legendary. Now, for those of you watching on the television feed, you see the look on my face.
Oh, and to make it even better, so LeBron's first career start as center is in white. Legendary is in gold.
Okay, who the hell said he started at center?
And then to make matters even better for Bronsexuals and worse for the rest of us, it's a picture. There's a picture of Bill Russell,
yep,
Kareem,
yep,
and Shaq, and Hakeem, but then you see LeBron in the center of all of them, sitting
on a throne.
And you wonder why. You talked about bile in the back of your throat. You wonder why we feel sick when we talk about this stuff.
They're on a throne.
Goodness gracious.
If you want to put him on a throne, you should have made it out of porcelain. Damn it.
But yes, it was a gem.
I mean, who writes this ish?
I don't know, but it's so funny. It just makes me laugh each time I see
this stuff. I mean, you're going to put a forward in the middle of four of the greatest centers to ever play the game?
A small forward. I would get if LeBron was a power forward.
I'd understand.
And you could probably do that.
Yes, I'd understand that.
Yeah.
I'd understand that. If he was a power forward playing a center position, i.e. the legendary Moses Malone.
Right.
Because Moses migrated from power forward to center. Because with Houston, he was a power forward for the most part who played center. And then when he got to Philadelphia, he was a straight up pivot.
He was straight up pivot when he got there. Yeah.
He really didn't become a full-time center until he got to Philadelphia.
Right.
Because they already had their forwards mapped out with Bobby Jones and Julius Erving.
Right.
Then some legendary fellow named Charles Barkley shows up at the power forward position and played 2 years with Moses. But this...
Yeah.
This is sickening.
Yeah. Oh, and what makes it so
there's more.
Legendary? Yes. What makes it so, quote, legendary, close quote,
dear God,
is he in his first game compiled a triple-double, 32 points, 11 boards, 11 assists. But he did so playing on the road against the Houston Rockets. And supposedly LeBron's first career start as a center is considered legendary.
You mean all these years people were saying LeBron can guard 1 to 5, which has been proven that he hasn't, and it took this long for his first start at center?
So he compiled this against the third worst team in the league.
I've seen Akeem Olajuwon get a triple-double, a quadruple-double on better teams blindfolded.
I definitely saw it. So, yeah.
You've seen it. I've seen it.
It's just ridiculous, man. Just the gushing of this guy. And it's pervasive. It's not just regular folk. It's not just NBA fans.
It's not. It's holy cow. And they throw this note in there. Third player to reach 36,000 points.
Yes.
Well, he's been playing 19 years.
And joined the league.
Supposedly he's the best scorer the game has ever seen, which is a lie because I saw it for 13 years in my hometown of Chicago.
Yeah, he's not the best scorer. And I think people get this mixed up.
That's a flat out lie.
And I think people get this mixed up. And should LeBron become the most prolific scorer in NBA history, and that would take him scoring about 38,500 points.
Do not say that to me, please. Please do not put that thought in my head.
Unfortunately, I hate to do this. That's the only reason why he's in the league still.
It is.
That's the only reason why he's in the league still. Yes, he's chasing ghosts. That's the only reason why he's still in the league.
Y'all want Sam Darnold sees ghosts, LeBron James chases them.
Oh wow. Nice. It's just ridiculous. In his chase to become the most prolific scorer ever, people consider this, and I will touch on it when I do my Bronsexual confessions later, but they touch on him and they consider this, well, he has scored the most points and that makes him the best. And
time. Challenge flag.
Yes, sir.
Repeat that last statement.
Oh, I have heard, and I will talk a little bit more about this in my Bronsexual confessions, where people consider LeBron scoring and amassing as many points as he has, not championships, not time in league, just the number of or assists or rebounds, just the number of points he scored. That criteria alone makes him the greatest to ever do it.
Time. Halt. Do you mean to tell me that there are actually an overwhelming number of people that would just consider the number of total points he scored as the main criteria? Scratch that. Only criteria for him to be the greatest?
Yes. Yes.
You fools. Wait a minute. Let me say it correctly.
You fool!
You fools. What in God's name is wrong with y'all? I know that's a loaded question. That's just number of points scored, total points scored.
Yes.
Not not the championships.
Not championships.
MVPs,
not MVPs. Not finals MVPs. No.
Not finals MVPs.
Not all defense.
Not all defense, of which he's only been named to 5 that I know.
5. No defensive player of the year, which he has yet to win that award and won't ever.
Okay. And yet they wanted down the only player who's won a scoring title and a steals title and defensive player of the year all in the same season. The year I'm speaking of course, is 1988. And the person I'm speaking of course, is Michael Jordan.
And mind you, that was not done, in my opinion, in Jordan's prime.
Right. He hadn't reached his prime yet.
He hadn't reached his prime yet.
And oh, by the way, Bronsexuals, and this be my Bronsexual confession during the second hour of the show. Not to mention the fact, and I know that's a 4-letter cuss word for you Bronsexuals, but I will mention this. Not to mention the fact that Michael Jordan is the only player to date to lead the league in scoring and steals
One,
3
2,
times.
3 times. Mm-hmm.
Let me repeat that. Michael Jordan is the only player to date, not LeBron, not Steph, not Kobe. God, I wish Kobe would have been in this category.
Same.
Michael Jordan, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the player you Bronsexuals down just for the, I won't say it aloud. The player you guys down for your supposed king is the only player to date to lead the NBA in scoring and steals 3 times. And you know what's great about those 3 times? 2 things. 1, he was MVP during the regular season all 3 times. 88,
all 3 years.
96, 98. Not to mention he was the All-Star Game MVP. And oh yeah, the most important one of all.
Champion.
Not only champion, but finals MVP every single time. Well, 2 of those 3 times. I beg your pardon. 2 of those 3 times. Doggone, I keep forgetting about Lakers and Pistons